Mr. Chandler,
Oh, there's Wendy.
okay. Ms. Gofflip,
She's signing
Here.
on.
I'm here.
okay. Ms. Levine,
Eileen, you gotta unmute yourself. You can hit this, there you go.
Can't you hear me?
Now we can.
Now we can.
It was before, it was unmuted, so I don't know why it keeps going back.
Suzanne,
Yeah.
John,
Here.
okay, I'm here, and Janine Simmons from the Finance Committee is also with us.
Here.
So we'll get started. Have all the trustees gotten to review the minutes for May?
Yeah, can I just point something out? The agenda says July 9th and it should be June 9th.
That was the one that I originally sent out to all of you. I
Okay.
caught that before it went to town hall,
Okay.
so it was
All right, that's the one I
correct.
printed out. All right. I'll
Yeah,
look.
what's posted is correct.
Okay.
So, okay, anybody have any questions on the minutes?
No,
Okay. Somebody want to move to accept them?
Who did? Eileen?
moved.
Anybody second?
Second. Joan.
Okay. Wendy,
Yes, approved.
Eileen,
Approve.
Suzanne,
Approved.
Joan,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Okay.
Financial report for May of 2020.
Okay, in the financial report, there was an increase in all salaries, which was to be expected with more people working. Slight increase in gas expenses, a decrease in the electrical. There were no expenses for custodial maintenance or online. No expenses for vehicular or let's say custodial was down quite a bit. So that's slight increase in, I said slight increase in gas and a decrease in electrical. So that's basically what it is. We look to be doing very well as far as what's being spent. Any questions?
Yeah, when you say gas, you mean gas heat, right?
Gas expense.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason the salaries are up, it was a 5 paycheck month.
Okay.
Happens a few
Right,
times a
May.
year.
Right, May and October.
Hey, I forgot that.
Well, when I was, checking my budget against what town hall sent,
Oh,
I see that because I have to reconcile it every month with what they show, which is good because I do make mistakes.
I'll have to remember that. It's hard when you're working from home only and you forget how many weeks there are in a month at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Okay, anybody want to move to approve the financial report for May?
I'm sorry, Stan, I do have a question.
Okay.
Okay,
Lynn, do
Sure.
you anticipate or have you spent any money on things for COVID-related protection for staff? I mean, where is that?
Yes.
What line item would we find things like plexiglass, et cetera? Where's that?
That is not in the budget. The town has put a freeze on non-essential spending. I am using state aid funds quite a bit now. So that's not showing in the regular budget.
How is that non-essential funding,
I know.
spending?
Well, I don't know, but this is, I think I sent this to everybody.
Good.
This massive thing, which is only a small chunk of the expendables budget. Non-essential, well, the things I mentioned as being essential would be utility bills, contracts.
But
I don't know.
PPEs, I would assume would be essential. Plexiglass shielding, I assume would be essential. Since it's not something that you want to do, it's something you're being required to do.
I don't know that I've seen anything requiring it yet, but I wanted it there.
So when we're looking at that big spreadsheet, which I'm trying to look at now on my Mac, I'm sorry, I did not open this before. Can you orient me? Where would I find that kind of expense?
That expense, let's see, displays by Garrow. It's the very last one.
Okay.
It's a company in Rhode Island.
So what does, where you have state aid total, and it says 2020 LIG, and then you've got a set of numbers. What's the LIG?
I don't know where it's not
Open
showing
to
up
the
on
top
mine.
of the column header.
Oh, when we get our state aid, it's divided into 3 segments. I got to remember the names of them now.
Is it the payments?
Yeah, when we get the state aid, you get there are 3 segments to it, but you get 2 payments a year. LIG, I'm trying to think what is what now. Okay, NRC, that's one of them. That's non-resident circulation. We get so much based on that.
Non-resident circulation?
Yep. MEG is something equalization grant. And LIG, now I can't remember what it stands for. But I could let you know.
So reading this, the green numbers at the top of the columns, that's all the money that you've gotten over the various years, and the cumulative is you now have 357,000 plus, right?
We did.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
before the sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure I'm reading that. Okay. All right.
Yes.
And then these are the individual, each row is an individual expenditure that happened in various time frames off to the right, but the summary of those items are carried over to column C. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
When it happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's the thing about state aid is that they give it in those segments, and that's how the town puts it into my budget. Which means before as I'm even working on paying invoices, I'm entering in here to see, if I have what I have left in each line. I mean, the grand total is 274, 133, but I've got to give them a number when I'm paying bills that's specific to a particular column. So it's kind of a nuisance, but we have it there to use.
I see. So of the items that are listed since the public health crisis, can you identify which ones are associated with, specifically with
Let's
COVID-19?
see. I would say April 21st, Baker and Taylor. And going down.
You mean all of these are
These are purchases for custodial supplies, new materials, office supplies.
Right.
Joe needed mulch for Southworth. Anything that was not, if I didn't believe it fell into the essential purchases, it's coming out of state aid. We have slowed down, although I just in the last couple of weeks told Paula to start ordering new materials. So that, so now that we are actually open a bit, and staff are coming in, we have a lot of new materials there that can be prepped and made available to the patrons.
So I'm sorry, Lynn, are you saying then that for COVID-19, as related to protecting the staff or preparing the building or whatever, there's only 2 items, Baker and Taylor and displays by Garrow?
No, no. What I'm saying is anything that didn't meet the criteria that the town has for essential spending is coming out of our state aid. Baker and Taylor would be library materials.
Okay, so I'm not looking for that. What I want to know is how much did you spend on COVID prep?
The biggest thing was displays by Garrow. The only other thing was the purchase of some like grocery bags that we're using to package up multiple items on hold. And that would have been probably part of one of the Amazon orders,
Uh-huh. Okay.
possibly the one on June 1st.
Yep.
No, actually they came in before, well, no, it could have been that June 1st.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else? Okay, somebody want to move to accept the financial report?
So moved.
Oh,
Second,
I'll second. Wendy got there before me.
okay. Wendy,
Yes.
Eileen,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay. Lynn, director's report?
Okay, well, we did reopen. Well, not reopen really, but we are providing telephone and hold pickup services now, which has been extremely popular. The patrons are very happy. A week ago Monday, the phone just kept ringing and ringing, and it's ringing pretty steadily at Southworth, right? You know, ongoing. People call and they need help with, can I place a hold on this? And the staff are explaining that the only items actually available are the ones that are currently inside one of our buildings. There's no delivery yet. There's no announcement of when that will start yet. I did fill out a survey that they sent out, asking how many bins we had for pickup. I had 20 some bins full of library materials for pickup at Southworth. Where the staff, the teams seem to be working well. And it's pretty much, it's been very helpful that we've limited the hours. Pretty much what we're doing is what I'm seeing described in the library portion of phase 1 and 2 for the state. The only difference that in the government's latest announcement was that instead of just curbside pickup, you could let your patrons come to the circ desk to pick up things, which I think would be a really bad idea because we don't want them in the building. Once they're in there, they're going to want to start browsing. And so we're just leaving it with the curbside setup we're using. Yeah, we had some comments, I guess, about the grass at the north branch growing so tall. So I sent Sharoni some information, which she put on the site, that it's a meadow. It was designed to be a meadow. It will get cut. I guess it's scheduled to have 2 cuttings this year. And one of the things Sharoni did was she took a picture of a deer, because they do visit the library property quite often, and posted that on the Facebook page. And we are having some problems with insects at the new branch. I had New Bedford Pest Control come in today, and they treated the outside of the doors and the windows, but he told me that one of the reasons we're having problems is because of the site itself, which is kind of what Joe and I figured. It's a wooded area, there's a meadow. The building there's no raised part when you go in or out of the building. So we'll see how this does. He said, give it 2 to 4 weeks to see if that helps. And if after 4 weeks, we want them to come back, they can.
Did you say it was New Bedford Pest?
Yes, New Bedford Pest Control. Joe said he had used them in the past and they were on the vendor list for the town. So it was easy enough to use them. I don't know if anyone has questions.
Okay. Any questions, anybody? Comments? Okay, I have one thing. On the sign, it's actually been 3 months since the zoning board has met. They're finally going to start doing Zoom meetings tomorrow. They have a schedule published on the website, the town website, but we're not on them yet. So it'll be probably either the very end of June or early July before they get around to approving. So the sign won't be going up for a while yet.
Well, actually, that meadow is kind of, you can't see where the concrete pad is. So, you know.
So we might have to do a little bit of trimming.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on Lynn's report?
Stan?
Yeah.
Lynn, in your director's report, you mentioned the, what was it called? The control, what was it called? It said that it was attached, but I don't think I have it. Was the, yeah, the control plan.
Oh, the control plan, I didn't attach it.
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, I will get that to you. It's kind of just an outline of what we're doing in the library with the, we've got the, let's see, staff they're required to wear a mask. I mean, if they're not near another staff member, they can slide it down, but they have to have a mask. They may use gloves. They have to know how to take them off properly so that they don't get further contamination from the gloves. All the things that we're doing are in the mandatory standards, safety standards. So the town wanted this control plan submitted, and I did submit it, and I meant to attach it, but it's not the first time I've said I've attached something and then I didn't.
I just didn't know what it was. I'd like to see
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Okay.
And so are we going to talk about the Melissa email at some point, Stan, or is now a good time?
Wouldn't that be new business?
Yeah, let's get
Okay.
through the rest of it first.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay, the Friends Board met this morning. Lynn and I were there. The book sales are a big issue. They're definitely not going to do the regular book sales this year, but they're being given more space for the ongoing book sale at Southworth. And we're also establishing an area for them in the branch. They're also going to be discussing some ideas for possibility of any other things to do. All programs are temporarily halted, but Christie asked for a bit shy of $500 for summer programs, and they approved for spending up to $550. And she's doing some very inventive things. She's doing things via Zoom. She can't do the craft work on site this year, but she's ordered kits that she can actually send to the kids, and they'll be able to hold those sessions using Zoom. So those things are really going pretty well, I think, with the kids programs. And I think that's about it. Do you have anything significant to add, Lynn? Anything I overlooked?
Can't think so. Can't think of anything.
Can you send me a synopsis?
Yeah. Yeah. And Lynn and I both addressed their annual meeting, and I expressed our appreciation for all they've done this year. So did Lynn. So Lynn, any correspondence?
No.
Okay. Old business. Lynn, Sue, do you have anything you want to add for construction?
Yeah, hang on. So I don't recall, the floor is done. It's completely done. It's usable. It was completely taken up and reinstalled. And at various points during the installation, it was checked by, I think, Nick Jablonski from P3 and Bruce Brooks, who's a member of the building committee. So that's good. The water in the basement issue, what they ended up doing is they ended up sending a camera down the conduit, the empty conduit or the spare conduit, to see if that's where the water was coming from, and they found no breaks in that particular conduit. So what they ended up doing is they ended up digging up from the transformer along the lines of where the conduits were, where they go into the building. And apparently it was found that, I guess, there's some joints at the conduit that actually had wiring in it. I guess there was some, I don't know if they were sealed properly, if they were glued, but there was breakage. And that's where the water was coming from. So once I guess what they did is they shut the building down for a week, correct, Lynn? And
Yes.
they pulled out the wiring out of that particular conduit. They replaced the conduit, stuffed it all back, resealed and re-glued, and did whatever it was they were supposed to do. And there hasn't been any water since.
Good.
So that was, I think, a construction error. Not necessarily a construction error, but it wasn't caught. But that's that. And they're going to, that meandering pathway that's in the meadow that goes from the street up to the parking lot, that's going to be asphalted. And they're going to start that by the end of this week. Yes.
Are there any additional costs associated with any of that?
No, as a matter of fact, right now, there's one change order that's pending, and I put the paperwork away. One of it I can't remember what the GNR thing is. That I can't remember, but there's also on the board, they need to put snow guards on the PV array, which is the solar panels. Because apparently the snow slides off the solar array and just kind of plops down. So if anybody happens to be standing near the roof line and there's snow, they could get whacked with snow. So they just have to figure that out. But right now, as it stands with that estimate and whatever, and I honestly can't remember what that other thing was from GNR. I could go run and get it, but that will leave $16,001.07 left in the contingency. So it is not over budget.
And Lynn, do you have anything to add?
No.
Now, has anybody been by there, just gone and driven around? Because the plants are in bloom and it looks really nice.
Yeah, I stop by a couple of times a week.
I didn't get behind the building because I didn't want to freak anybody out.
I've gone partway down, and so far I haven't seen any signs of the deer getting at anything either.
Right.
Points all look intact. And the only other thing I'd have on the, from the meeting today was the leads paperwork should all be done and processed.
By the end of
in
the
about
month,
a
yeah.
week and a half. So, okay.
Yeah, the final lead paperwork
Yeah.
was sent for submission. So they say it's a 25-day review period, and if we get it, we'll get gold. Which basically means that probably in a year or 2 or 3, whatever the money is that you get for gold is going to get sent back to the town. So what do we remember what it was, like between 80 and 130,000?
Yeah, I think it was
Something
a
like
little
that.
over
Isn't it a
100.
percentage of your, is it a percentage of your budget?
Not sure.
What was the time frame on that?
Well, it was submitted on, I think it was May 20 something, and it's a 25-day period. So Chelsea Brown from the architecture, Odin's Ello, says that they should get word, or the review period should be up by around like the 26th, 27th of June. So in another like 2 weeks.
And then the town will get the money when?
A year.
that-
It's a while. It's not a quick turnaround. It's not a quick turnaround, and it goes to the town. It's not going to go to the library.
Yeah, still,
So,
it's great.
I mean, maybe they can slide it to the library, but I mean, once it gets to the town, maybe they can, add it to Lynn's budget. But that's
Yeah.
that.
Okay, anything else on that? The return of the North Dartmouth branch property to the town on Tucker Road. I delivered the letter to Sean McInnes a couple of days after we met. In the meantime, we had been assured that the trustees and the library are not exposed to any liability. It's a town building and it's covered by the town. And they've actually already started moving things in. So it's not going to sit there unused. Okay, discussion of the buildings reopening. When?
Well, I don't know when that will happen. Phase 3 from the state would be the earliest. We're going to have to make some provisions for that because we have to have the social distancing going on. It means we might need to shut down some of our public computers because they're too close together. If they're all in use, they're too close together. Joe has already marked waiting points to make lines for people outside the building and inside the building. We do have the plexiglass in place in front of each circulation desk station.
You said both inside. You said the waiting points are made both inside and outside.
And outside.
Okay.
And because when we do reopen, the formula so far seems to be 25% of your usual capacity. And in that building, that's like 125 people for Southworth. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what North's capacity is.
It's similar.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
So-
over 100, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm sure, because the little branch on Tucker Road was 50.
Yeah,
Let's see.
You said there's plexiglass at the circ desks, right?
Yes. Each of the workstations there, they have them hanging. That seemed to be our best option. Joe and I both liked that. The The countertop ones you can get that have a cutout space. The ones, when I looked at the pictures, the cutout spaces didn't look, they wouldn't work that well with library books. They're fine if you're handing cash through or something, but not for library books. We have a good supply of gloves. We have a small supply of masks for staff, but a lot of people have their own. I have several cloth masks that were made by a friend, and I can throw them in the washing machine, reuse them. We might need to station someone in the back hallway, like limit entrance to the building to one entryway, and it would be the back hallway, and have a staff member there to do what they're doing at the supermarkets, which is so many people in, so many people out. Apparently there's a free app and you can use your cell phone to do this. So that's still a ways out, but that's what we're going to have to be considering over the next couple of weeks, just how we will do it. Fortunately, we have a PC reservation system set up that we haven't had to restrict really the amount of time people can spend on a PC, although we do have some, we do have policies about that, but basically we very rarely get to the point where we have more people looking for PCs than we have available. We don't find people waiting as a general rule. We might now when we have to restrict how many we can make available. And this PC reservation system, we can take advantage of having that to help us manage those PCs. Something else I've been thinking about is carols for the public computers so that people have more of an enclosed area around them. And we might have to replace the wide open tables and do something along that line. But all things to be explored.
Lynn, there are portable carols.
Hmm.
So if you don't want to invest in putting holes in the table, they use them for testing sites.
Okay.
So they put them up. You probably could find them in educational magazines. So that might be good for a stopgap method instead of
Okay.
investing in something big.
Right.
Okay, how do you spell carols?
I think it's CARRELS.
Okay, ELS. All right. Thanks, because it's not a CAROLS.
They're not the carols you sing.
Yeah, I know. And those are for the open tables, right?
Yeah, we have open tables upstairs
At Southworth, right?
at Southworth. At the North Branch, we do have a divider running down the middle of each table, but we still have people sitting side by
Across.
side.
You're right, okay.
So again, we'd have to look at that. I think I'm not sure, even with the carols in place, we still might need to keep them 6 feet apart. So,
Lynn,
yes,
offhand, do you remember if the public PCs are hardwired for internet?
yes,
Okay, because the last PC I got, I have it hardwired plugged into the motherboard, but it also came with a card in it to do wireless. So we probably should look at our public computers and see if they have wireless capability. If they do, we could possibly move some to other tables.
it's something to consider.
Do you see what I'm sharing? Did that come up?
Yes, yeah,
So there's a whole bunch of different ones. They start at $6
Right.
for the cardboard ones.
uh-huh,
And they go all the way up. Like if you look at this one, this is a whole table version of them. And this
Right.
is just one site. So there's a million things.
right. I have looked at some of them, and as I said, I want to know what the standards are going to be for things like that. And I haven't really seen anything too specific yet.
Okay, anything else on reopening?
Just the hours. So you're limiting your hours
Yes.
and therefore expect fewer staff hours.
Staff are still working. They're either working at home or at the library. We limited the hours. It's one of the recommendations they actually give you. We have only half of the staff in each building per week. And then it's not really enough people. It would not cover our normal hour of schedules because they're spread over 60 hours at Southworth. Here, it's only 40 hours, which means we can, everyone just works 10 to 6. They work in, it's 8 hours and then they have their lunch hour. And that is working for us. And it gives us at least a little bit of after 5 o'clock time for people. But when we're ready to reopen, again, it's something else we have to look at the hours.
So right now, you're not going to be under budget on the number of hours because everyone's working their full schedule.
No, we won't be under budget. Also, the MBLC has already announced that the hours that you were open through March when the shutdown went into place, that's all you need to have for
Right.
this fiscal year.
Right.
Also, material expenditures. Then they're giving a light leeway on those 2 items. They aren't giving leeway on the MAR budget, which would be the one that would kick in July. The town is going to be level funding every department, which means we won't quite meet our MAR, but we shouldn't have difficulty getting a waiver because it's not going to be a big discrepancy. And it's not that the library is being cut. It's just every department's being told level funded.
I see. Thank you.
Lynn, I just want to tell you that I think you're doing an excellent job in such a trying time.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
It's been a tough year.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah.
I have a good staff and I have good trustees. I have support. I can't think of much else as far as reopening. It's up in the air at this point.
I will tell you, it was really nice to hold a real book in my hands and
I'm
read.
sure it was. I mean, they're so happy.
Yeah.
And they're happy that the desk staff are, the phones are ringing at the circ desks and staff are answering. Because some people would actually, they'd call them into my office because that's the number I was telling people to call if they, and I get a few people, but not too many. Mainly, they needed help with the online resources.
The curbside service is really quick too. I called to let them know I was coming to pick up the DVD. I called just before I left the house and it was on the table at the branch when I got there. It was maybe 10 minutes later. So they're doing really well with that. I don't think we'll get any complaints about the service. Okay, new business. Next meeting. Do we want to take July off, assuming there's nothing urgent that comes up? Anybody?
Nobody's saying anything. I mean, as I get plans down on paper for dealing with reopening, I will send them out to you. But it's up to you if you think you need to meet in July. it's fine. I'm available.
Does anybody prefer to take July off as we typically have over the last several years?
It's immaterial to me. I mean, I know we missed, what did we miss? We missed April.
Yeah.
So for typically we only meet 11 times a year. So, I mean, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter to me. I'm assuming it'll be another Zoom meeting, at least in July.
Mhm.
I mean,
Were you gonna-
sometimes it's easier if we have questions, if someone has a question, on a plan or whatever it is that Lynn submits, then we can ask right then and there instead of, lengthy emails.
Can I suggest that we schedule the meeting? And if the week beforehand we have nothing to discuss, we can cancel the meeting?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think that would be the best bet.
everybody favor doing it that way?
That's
Yeah, I
fine.
don't have a problem with that. So that would be July 7th, right? No,
14th.
14th. Yeah, duh. It's right here.
Well,
Sorry.
I don't know if this is an official vote, but let's cover ourselves. So
Okay.
somebody make the motion.
I make the motion that we schedule the meeting and cancel it if we don't need it.
Second.
Who seconded?
Mm,
Eileen.
Eileen.
Okay.
Vote Wendy,
Yes.
Eileen,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes,
and I vote yes. Okay,
Okay. Set. And
other business.
wait a second. Nothing to discuss. Okay. Sorry. Other.
Okay, other business. Do we want to talk about the letter the email that Lynn got today from Melissa Medeiros?
Oh, yeah.
Have you replied yet, Lynn?
No, I haven't. I was thinking about what I wanted to say.
Do we have anybody that can actually do that, or is everybody working?
Well, half of the staff is home and they do have projects they can work on, training them, things for the library. Actually, they were looking for someone last week and Sharoni volunteered. Because I have not ordered any staff at this point to work at another department. I don't think I'd be comfortable doing that.
I
But
think
she
it's
vo-
setting a really bad precedent. I just think that, if somebody decides that they need more help, they're going to look to the library and say, hey, Lynn, give us your people. You have to do this. The whole tone of it was,
Well, yeah, that's one reason I haven't responded yet, because my blood pressure went up a bit and I figure better to just calm down.
should we read the letter, email out loud? Janine, you haven't seen it, right? Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah. So Sharoni volunteered and she's actually she was at town hall yesterday and again today, I believe. She's helping get the packet ready for town meeting because they have a deadline to meet to get it out. I think that the job that this new job is, again, I believe it's related to town meeting, calling
Yeah.
town meeting members. Yeah.
Well, what I found out about the letter was that at the meeting of the select board last Monday, they charged Melissa with contacting town meeting members, either through phone calls or emails, to find out if they were amenable to doing remote participation. and they wanted her to do that last week. Then you got the email from Melissa looking for people to start working yesterday. And they're flat out now on putting the packets together because those have to be in the mail tomorrow.
I think the email was one that came this morning, the one I forwarded.
Right, but what
Yeah.
strikes me as odd is she said they need some of our people to gather, to contact town meeting members to get email addresses from them. The urgency there right now should be get the packets completed to go in the mail tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Right,
don't,
but that's not what the email, whether that's the thing that should be done or not, that's not what Lynn is, what's her name? Medeiros is
Melissa.
asking.
Melissa.
Melissa.
Yeah, she sent an email last week looking for someone, and that's when Sharoni volunteered. I
Yeah,
did
I'm
send it.
concerned about them using their
Yeah.
cell phones from home. They're putting their home cell phone numbers if they're calling from home. Everybody sees who you are when you call.
Well-
Do you want to, you know,
You know, I have questions. I would like to know, is everyone who works at town hall reporting to work? And if there are people working from home, why can't they, if they can do it from home, then why don't you turn it over to them?
right.
Um,
People on the Council on Aging aren't working. You know, there's a million different organizations that are not
well,
up and running,
that was one of my other questions. Has she
including lots
asked-
of school teachers.
Well, see, I don't think the town hall can do anything about what the school department does. But I did ask if she'd ask DPW or Council on Aging or Parks and Recreation if they had staff who could do this. I mean, this email came across as an order to me,
Yeah.
pretty much, and it's like,
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
you know,
she says,
where is this coming from? I report to the Board of Library Trustees.
this is not an optional assignment. Those are the words.
Right.
well, there's also the issue of does the union contract allow her to shift people around this way?
Well,
Joan
see,
has
that's-
her hand up.
yeah.
Please answer the question, Lynn.
Okay.
I didn't mean to
Um,
interrupt you.
That has actually been one of my questions, and the person who is the library's rep for their union is working at Southworth this week, and I talked to her a little bit today. I don't think there's anything in their contract addressing this because it's never come up before where someone at town hall has tried to order things to happen at the library or with library people. I know we're in an emergency situation, but I don't know, this is making me extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't see why there aren't enough people that work for town hall to begin with that could do this, because I'm sure all the departments are not open.
Yeah, the building's still closed.
Right. So,
So my perspective on this is, if the staff has work to do and the library is open in a limited way, which therefore reinforces the fact that the staff has work to do, then if she takes them away from the work that needs to be done, then really there's sort of an impact on the library, which you could translate into dollars and cents and say, you are financially impacting the library by taking our resources that we are paying to do other work when we have work of our own that needs to be done. So from that perspective, I would say that the trustees with financial responsibility for the library could say, we don't have the budget to do both our jobs and yours.
In my opinion, there's a deeper issue, though that is definitely an issue. The deeper issue is, Lynn, do you report to Melissa Medeiros?
No.
No,
No. So that's the bigger issue. how can somebody who is not in the chain of command demand something from the library employees? That has to come from whoever Lynn is responsible to, then from Lynn to the employees. It can't be anybody who happens to work in City Hall saying, okay, we're going to take library people and we're going to make them do this today. That is a much bigger issue. And not recognizing that, I think, leaves us open to other things in the future. What happens if there's a crisis in the city and they say, well, you know, we need you more here rather than we need you at the library because this is more important? Because this came out as a priority. If this was just like, Lynn, we're having a hard time, we need support, is there anybody that might be able to do this? That's very different when this
Yes.
is not an optional assignment. That is pretty intense. So I'm
was she
concerned
trying-
about that.
Was she trying to cover herself by CCing Sean? She's basically saying, I'm CCing Sean, therefore I have Sean's approval.
No, it could just be that she's CCing Sean just to say that she's requested of Lynn, you know, this. So she could say,
Another-
well, hey, you know, I sent this, you know, at 2:00 in the afternoon and I haven't heard anything yet.
Melissa.
Correct.
So it could be a cover, it could basically be a cover your ass thing.
I am concerned about union reaction. I mean,
I'd also like to know who's gonna pay for them. Does
that
that
come
come
out of my budget.
out, or does that come out of the town's budget with people? Because that shouldn't be,
Well, it all comes from the town originally, so.
yeah, but that's our budget. And why should
Who's your direct supervisor, Lynn?
them to go over?
Who do you report to?
I report to this board.
Right.
Okay, so I would say, I would write back. I received your email. I discussed it with my immediate superiors on the library board. We're concerned about lots of things, notwithstanding union issues and the fact that our workers have things to do, and we will not be able to help you.
Yeah, the other issue involved is, I had a department head Zoom meeting yesterday, and Sean always mentions how he wants to protect the staff from being exposed. So she said this could be done remotely, but other times she's wanted people to go to town hall. And I have my staff in teams, so they're not even working together, so they won't contaminate each other. And then
Yeah,
It kind
I
of
saw you
under-
wrote that, but that's not a good, valid argument.
No.
I would stay away from that because they're
Okay.
going shopping and they're going to other places. So you don't protect them by limiting their thing. However, I would say that if she wants them to go to town hall, they will go to town hall when town hall is open. As long as town hall is not open, that's the town of
Mm.
Dartmouth saying it is not safe to come here and to work here. And then working from home puts them at risk because it puts their personal telephone number out to people. They're being made to share their number with people that they don't necessarily know. And
that's true.
I mean,
Well,
that
they
is
could do
an
start
issue.
6-7, right? So, I mean, there
Yeah,
are
so
ways
you want to
around
make
that.
call, you want to do the, you want to add another layer of that to have to block yourself and every call that you make to the.
No, I think the whole thing is ridiculous that she's even asked us to that. I'm just trying to take the high road on it and say, I agree with everything you're saying, Wendy, about it being inappropriate that she's asking. But rather than start a fight with her, I would just say I consulted with my board, who I report to, and they don't feel that we have bandwidth. The staff is busy doing the work the staff does, and we do not agree that they are available to other departments.
The problem with that is if then they come in and say, you don't need this amount of staff because you're not open the way you are. You do have bandwidth, but that is not the reason why we're saying no. The reason why Lynn has to say no to this is not about staff not having bandwidth. It has to do with someone who is not in her chain of command demanding that she do something that should be her decision and our decision.
So if that's
Not
the case,
their
I don't
decision.
think Lynn should reply. I think Stan should reply to
I agree.
Sean. I don't think Lynn should get put in the middle of that. I think if we're going to go that route, it should be, boss to boss. My employee asked your employee to do something that's not appropriate. Let's stop it. What do you think about that, Stan?
Well, it's going to get cumbersome, because I assume you'll all want to see what I write beforehand.
Doesn't matter to me.
I think that having Stan write a letter is not Plan A. I think Plan A is Lynn sending a quick response to Melissa that says, in discussion with the Board of Library Trustees, we will not be able to do this. That's all.
And CC Sean and Stan?
Absolutely. And I would CC all of us. you
Sure.
know. Right.
Yep.
That's all. And
Yep.
then if they come back again
Okay.
and we have to give reason, then we'll
Right,
talk
right.
about a thing.
Okay, I'm
Right?
good with that.
Let's take it as simple as possible. No, we're
Yep.
not doing that. Sorry.
That sounds good.
Do we need to vote on that?
No,
I
I
don't
don't
know,
think
because it's correspondence. You normally vote on correspondence.
just so long as we all know that it's gonna be sent, we're gonna be CC'd.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not correspondence we're sending, it's correspondence Lynn's sending, so we don't have to vote on it.
Yeah.
She's already.
Yeah, I can do that.
annoyed.
So in discussions with the trustees.
Lynn, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah,
Lynn, are
so
you
what-
comfortable
Yes,
with
I'm
that?
fine.
Good.
I was starting to compose a response to her, and in my original, in that draft, which I have not sent, I did say, the Board of Trustees is meeting today, and I want to, they will have some questions about this, and I want to be able to answer them, and I wanted to ask her things like, is everyone who works at Town Hall currently reporting to Town Hall? And cannot some of your people work from home and do this?
Mhm.
Their step to do this, it's,
Will somebody make a motion?
so,
no,
yeah, I have no problem. I can send something.
Great.
Okay, did you make a motion?
No, I don't think so, because I can,
We don't make motions on
I'll respond.
correspondence.
Okay. All right.
Anything else?
No. Does anybody have anything on this or anything else they want to bring up? Okay, somebody want to move to adjourn?
I move to end the meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, call the roll. Wendy,
wait a second.
Yes.
Okay. Eileen,
uh,
Yes.
Suzanne,
yes.
John,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So tentatively, we'll see you again on July 14th.